I go on Snapchat today just to find out that the f***ing isn't even working.
Amazon is down and we are really just around.
Yo, what is going on right now? It is 3 a.m. and Coinbase and Robinhood have completely shut down, millions of users being locked out of their crypto account.
And Life360 says, sorry, we're having technical issues. Okay, fix it. Because I need to be able to know where my man's going, where he is, what he's doing,
Jeff Bezos accidentally locked Americans out of their homes. Now, he didn't mean to, his servers just crashed, but that's the problem. We've surrendered control of our daily lives to a handful of tech billionaires. During the AWS outage, flights were grounded, students couldn't submit assignments, people couldn't access their money. Even one Reddit user watched as someone tried to burn their house down. Their Blink security camera, which they pay Amazon to record 24/7, had zero footage from that morning despite hundreds of motion notifications, all because Amazon was down.
My lights are controlled by the Wi-Fi. They're controlled by Alexa, technically, which runs off Wi-Fi, obviously. And I can't turn them on or off without Alexa because there isn't a little spinny thing to turn them on and off. And Alexa is not working.
But here's what this outage revealed. Even Google, Microsoft, and Oracle, Amazon's direct competitors, went down all because they're dependent on Amazon. Google Search was offline. Microsoft Teams was also affected. At least 10 national health services using Oracle went down in the UK because they're all dependent on Amazon. The US government awarded Amazon, Oracle, Microsoft, and Google a $9 billion contract to create critical digital infrastructure for them. But during this outage, we saw that they're all dependent on Amazon. In 1909, when Standard Oil controlled 91% of the oil industry, we called it a monopoly. We broke them up into 37 separate companies. Today, Amazon controls 30% of the internet, but their competitors also need them. They don't just own 30%, they own access to everything. And here's the evil genius of all of this. Every time Amazon has an outage, they profit from it. Because when these companies went dark, they panicked. They buy more Amazon services to prevent this from happening again. This is what is known in the industry as redundancy. Wall Street knows this too. That's why the very next day, Amazon stock went up. They know Amazon profits from its own failures. During the outage, Perplexity went down, so the CEO posted on X, "Perplexity is down right now. The root cause is an AWS issue. We're working on resolving it." The reality is there was literally nothing Perplexity could do about this, or any other company for that matter, because they don't own it, they can't fix it. We've become so technologically entrenched that we can't remove ourselves even if we wanted to. Our banks require digital access, our employers demand online availability, even our governments are moving more services online. There's no opt-out button to modern life anymore, but at the same time, we increasingly see more outages. This isn't Amazon's first outage, nor is it the worst one we've seen. Last year, CrowdStrike pushed a faulty update that knocked out 8.5 million Microsoft Windows systems, the same critical infrastructure that we still depend on, because the reality is when the dust settled and the systems came back online, nothing changed. These companies have vendor lock-in and severe dependencies on each other.
Currently in the middle of this Microsoft outage, computers are black, we have the screen of death. We do have wound camera phones that are iPhones, which we're allowed to give medications on, but other than that, we don't have access to patient charts. Our downtime computer is down. I work with Epic. Epic is now self-deleting off of the Microsoft computers when we're able to turn them on, but as soon as we turn them on, they turn back down. So that's where we're at right now.
Amazon, Google, and Microsoft all convinced corporations that moving to the cloud was cost-effective. No more server rooms, no more IT departments, everything's simple and connected in the cloud. Here's the cloud, Amazon's Virginia data center complex where the majority of their cloud services live. Companies gave up their own infrastructure just to rent from Amazon. And now Amazon is charging all of us just to participate in a modern digital world. Let me show you exactly how we're paying for this monopoly. Epic Systems makes healthcare software used by 325 million patients. Hospitals pay to use software like Epic's electronic health records. These hospitals can then pay Amazon to store these electronic health records in the cloud. When Epic raises their software prices, the hospitals raise prices to cover the increased costs. This also means when Amazon raises their prices, the hospitals again need to raise their prices because they're for profit. Every time hospitals raise prices, your insurance provider increases their premiums. Hospitals use hundreds of different software applications, with many requiring a monthly subscription with cloud access. In every case, this technology tax gets passed down to you. We're funding Jeff Bezos' lifestyle through every medical bill, but it's not just healthcare, it's every industry. Utility companies use software, grocery stores, your car insurance, even software like Canvas that schools pay for with taxpayer money is using Amazon to store data. And those mysterious other service fees that appear on your bills, that's the Amazon tax. Of course, these companies aren't going to say Amazon price increase. They would rather be vague so you don't know they're passing along big tech's price hikes just to maintain their own margins. We're also paying for this monopoly with our own data. We're paying them even when we think we're just going about our day in the privacy of our own home, just being human. Our daily behaviors are data points for them, and this translates to big money for tech billionaires.
Alexa, what's been happening around the house since I've been in New York?
All right, on it. Here's what I've noticed since Thursday. A package was delivered to the porch. Friends came to visit, and there was some football activity in the yard with family members. Don't forget to feed Rusty. I didn't notice anyone feeding him today.
Can you remind Jonah to feed him when you see him?
I've set a reminder for Jonah to feed Rusty when I see him.
All these smart devices that failed during the outage, like the smart bed, the water filter, the doorbell camera, they're all spying on you, collecting data, and storing it in the cloud. That smart bed knows you can't sleep. It knows you wake up at 3 a.m. stressed about work. They then collect that data and sell it to companies who target you in your most vulnerable moments. Can't sleep at 3 a.m.? Here comes a perfectly timed Netflix notification. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but it still shocks me every time I see it. These data centers are powering both Amazon and AI, and they're consuming so much electricity that power companies throughout the US keep increasing their prices. The state of Michigan just approved $590 million in rate increases. That's 2 price hikes for 2025 alone. But it doesn't stop there. There isn't enough electricity, so these multi-trillion-dollar companies are resorting to natural gas to power their data centers. In fact, 56% of data centers are now running on natural gas. So what does the state of Michigan do? They approve a $157 million price increase for natural gas. The energy that powers people's homes, the gas that heats them, these basic needs are being hijacked by billionaires with the approval of our local representatives. And natural gas is a fossil fuel, contributing to the very climate change that's drying up our lakes and rivers, the same water sources that data centers are now using. We can literally see it from space. Satellite images show the Earth getting hotter year after year. While the tech billionaires own the digital infrastructure, the other billionaires are busy buying up everything else. The world's largest private equity firm just made a discovery. If tech companies need massive amounts of electricity, why not buy the power companies? Blackstone, the world's largest alternative asset manager, just bought Hilltop Energy Center, a 620 megawatt natural gas power plant in western Pennsylvania. In May, they acquired TXNM Energy, a regulated utility company serving 800,000 people in New Mexico and Texas. Here's what regulated means. These utility companies have to ask permission before increasing your electricity bill. The government supposedly protects us from price gouging on essential services like electricity. But Blackstone just took TXNM private. That means no more regulation, no more oversight. A multi-trillion-dollar company now controls the electricity for over 800,000 Americans. They can charge whatever they want. They literally own the power switch to entire cities. The big three, BlackRock, Vanguard, and StateStreet, collectively own roughly 22% of every company listed on the S&P 500. That's over 500 companies. That gives them substantial voting power and influence over companies we rely on. And it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface on all the companies they actually own. Nestle CEO Peter Brabeck said water isn't a human right.
Also Wasser ist natürlich das wichtigste Rohmaterial, das wir heute noch auf der Welt haben. Es geht darum, ob wir das normale Wasserversorgung der Bevölkerung privatisieren oder nicht. Die eine Anschauung, extrem würde ich sagen, wird von einigen von den NGOs vertreten, die darauf pochen, dass Wasser zu einem öffentlichen Recht erklärt wird. Das heißt, als Mensch sollten Sie einfach Recht haben, um Wasser zu haben. Das ist die eine Extremlösung. Yeah.
Now, apparently, the other billionaires believe electricity isn't either. All while Sam Altman is gaslighting us, claiming that AI is going to lead to energy abundance. Remember when the Economic Forum said we will own nothing and be happy by 2030? They were right about the first part. We do own nothing, yet we're miserable. Adobe used to sell a one-time purchase of Photoshop for $699. Now it's $23 monthly and you never own it. The Oura Ring cost over $300. They then charge a $6 monthly subscription to actually unlock all of the features. Toyota now charges $8 a month to remotely start the car that you already bought. Even the doorbell now has a subscription. There's no more ownership, it's just usership. We make endless payments to use items that are increasingly getting worse. And at the same time, the wealth gap keeps increasing. We're now on track to see 5 trillionaires in the next decade. In fact, for the first time in modern history, more billionaires are created through inheritance than through entrepreneurship. The US will see $29 trillion passed down to billionaire heirs over the next 30 years. So much for pull yourself up by your bootstraps. They own the boots. The US government's own data shows that the US is in a loneliness epidemic. Gen Z is the loneliest generation ever recorded, with millennials right behind them. The wealthy keep saying that money doesn't make you happy, but their own data actually shows otherwise. People making over $100,000 a year report being less lonely. Researchers have found that higher incomes directly correlate with happiness. And the wealth inequality isn't just an American issue, this is a global problem. UK's richest 1% own more than the bottom 70% combined. Italy, the wealthiest 10%, holds 60% of net wealth. Sweden has the 6th highest wealth inequality in the world. The top 10% own 74% of the wealth. In fact, Sweden has a higher wealth inequality score than the United States. If even Sweden, who is recognized as a model society for equality, yet has the world's 6th highest wealth inequality score, beating the United States, then we have a wealth inequality global problem. So where does this leave us? 3 companies control the internet, the other billionaires are buying up everything else, and when their systems fail, their stock price increases. This recent outage was a preview of a world where billionaires own the off switch to our daily lives. The cracks are starting to show, and every day it becomes harder to ignore that the system is failing. And I don't know what comes next. But history shows us that concentrated power never lasts forever. Every Gilded Age has ended, every monopoly has eventually been broken. The very fact that we're even having this conversation is proof that change is on the horizon.